Empathy is defined as the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. This show is a medium for learning about empathy through conversations. Welcome to Empathy Speak with Arvind Venugopal. Tune in every Friday as I chat with people from around the world about diverse and heartfelt journeys. Each episode will feature world music clips by creative partners at Twameva Music. Sign up at empathyspeak.com for more details. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Empathy Speak with Arvind Venugopal. This is a platform to learn about empathy through conversations. And in today's conversation, we're going to talk to Shalon.
Forever and a day, I wish that you were mine, so that our love could go on till the end of time.
Shalon, in Hebrew, means peace and love. Shalon is an artist, a singer-songwriter located in the Washington, D.C. area, and she has lived at various places, and she's gonna give you a little more insight into some of her stories. Hey Shalon, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for being in the show, and I know you're having a lot of adventures nowadays. So thanks for doing a pit stop at our podcast and having this as part of your adventure.
Absolutely, this is an important topic, so I'm glad to be here.
All right, talking about an important topic, I do have a few questions for you around this topic. Before we begin, I'll ask you a general question in terms of like, what is when you hear the word empathy, what does it mean to you?
It means to put myself in someone else's shoes and feel what they're feeling. There's a lot of, and it can be sadness or happiness, but mostly it kind of weighs more heavy on the negative side of things. Mm-hmm. So, I'm an empath, so I do feel a lot. What's going on in the world, or how people feel, or just the energy around.
Right.
It can be really heavy.
Right. I have connected and spoken with many people who resonate with what some of the empathic feelings are in humanity and in environments such as the one that we are in currently. How can we remain positive in such a negative environment with the current world events that are going on around us?
That's a great question, and I've been struggling with that every single day. I actually just posted something on my website, on Facebook actually, to list 3 things for 21 days that you're grateful for. And that's to help your internal, kind of push all that negativity out that is coming in all the time. So I put up a challenge, a 21-day challenge for everybody who looks at the page, to let's try to get rid of all this negativity that's coming in daily by the second. You look at any social media platform and it's just deaths and fires and storms and, kids going missing and abuse and COVID, and it's just on and on and on and on. And it's even animal abuse, and it's just so depressing. So to find the light in the day, it's almost like we really have to take it back to the basics and look out your window just to see a flower blooming, or the colors of the earth and just really tune into what's really beautiful in the world and what we really have to be grateful for every single day, and just even opening our eyes. And I think that in itself is a positive for us to kind of grab onto and say, hey, we're getting through this, and let's help other people get through this that are only seeing the negative and can't see the brightness,
Right,
outside their window or whatever.
right, right. Do you have any particular like mini tips to deal with the day-to-day world events, news that you usually use?
I try to just shut it down. When I go on social media, I usually go on there to, try to promote my music or do something, more positive. But when I see all this stuff, I just, after maybe like the third scroll, and it's just so much negativity, I shut it down and I try to refocus. It's almost like, when you're raising a child or even training an animal and they're getting into something wrong, you just remove them from that and put them somewhere else where they can focus on something that they can be doing without getting into trouble. It's kind of the same mentality where you just remove yourself from that situation and refocus on something that's going to be more positive for yourself.
Right. It almost seems like people are so obsessed with like certain points of view and also with respect to what they want in terms of like, it's become such a selfish world of late. And talking about that in terms of, how people interact and deal with each other. Do you feel like there's really such a thing as like committed relationships anymore? Um, in that sense.
Yeah, that's one of the topics that I have. I wonder now, because I look at people in their dating aspects when we're talking about committed relationships, and it just seems like, and I watch how people go from one person to the next person to the next person to the next person, and they're just dating. It's kind of like, oh, I'm going out to look for a car and I'm test driving all these cars, but I don't really want to spend the money on a car yet. So I'll just keep test driving these cars. And maybe I'll buy a new car, but I'm not sure if I want to buy a new car, because I like to test drive them. And, I can take them home for a day and then take them back. I feel like that's kind of the mentality of this dating life cycle that people are going through. And it makes me sad, because it's not what it's supposed to be. Like you're not supposed to just go from one person to the next person and give hopes to somebody just to crush their hopes.
Yeah, and almost in some ways, you almost feel like technology is making things worse versus like making it better, right?
It is making it worse, because now you have, family members who lock their phones when they come home, turn it off, put it on silent. And it just seems like there's so much hidden, so many secrets, secrets that if you really were in a committed relationship, there wouldn't be those secrets. Those secrets, there's no need for them, because there should be trust in that relationship, trust and communication. But I understand, and there's another side to it. There's the side that somebody is kind of like, I'm lost for words right now, really possessive. And so maybe that person is trying to even hide just a regular friendship. But the secrets,
protect their own space, basically.
Right. But then that's not the relationship that you should be in.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, given all this, all these changes that the world is currently going through, it can be so easy to get disheartened. I do also feel like it's still such a beautiful world out there, and like it's something to be hopeful and aspirational to. Especially when you're like dealing with the younger generation of folks. How do you think we can, or how do we ensure our children that things are going to be all right in this ever-changing world.
Yeah, that's really tough as well because now right now children are seeing whether things are happening within their own family, deaths and sickness, and the fact that they're not able to spend time with their friends anymore and play. I mean, I'm sure there are children out there doing that, but for the safety of most children, they're not. A lot of children aren't doing that, and so it's kind of like putting someone in a white room, you know, and closing the door and saying you're going to be okay. But without that interaction,
Yeah.
Are they really mentally going to be okay? They may have adult interaction, but they don't have the growing up with friends interaction. And they may be losing family members from sicknesses or not being able to see family members because of this that are really important in their life. So ensuring that this world is going to be okay to a child is really difficult right now. I think right now we have to show lots of family love and lots of, I have time for you, as an adult, as a parent, I'm here for you. I'm not going to push you off to your room because I know that you don't have anybody to play with. You don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to create with. So
Right.
me as a parent or anybody as a parent needs to realize that and just say, hey, this is our slow down process right now. This is our grasp for family. This
Right.
is our chance to reinvent what is important to us.
Right.
And that's our kids and our family is important to us. And so we're getting the time to do that.
Almost
right
like
now.
we're
A lot of
getting
people,
the reset button, but it's like the adults have so much more to do for the younger generation, especially with the reset button not allowing people to freely interact like we used to, especially the kids.
right. Yeah, definitely. But once again, if you really take advantage of it, this is a really good time for you as a parent, us as parents, to sit down and get back to basics of what we are supposed to be doing as parents.
Right.
Not shoving them out the door to go play with your kids, but really bringing them back in. I'll go play with friends or whatever, but bringing them back into let's learn something.
Yeah.
Let's learn about our history. Let's learn about how to take care of your home, how to grow a garden, how to help fix things around the house. Things that we weren't doing before.
That's a great thought. On that note, I have so many more questions. On that note, we are going to take a mini break. So you are listening to Shalon on Empathy Speak with Arvind Venugopal, and we will be right back. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to Empathy Speak with Arvind Venugopal. We are speaking with Shalon, the singer-songwriter. Hey Shalon, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm here.
All right. So I have a few more questions for you, especially knowing that you are a singer-songwriter. It's always something that fascinates me, me being a musician myself. But being a singer-songwriter is always fascinating for me because I've always listened to musicians who are able to write their own songs and create their own music and perform for the world. So, how did you find your first inspiration when you decided to be a singer-songwriter?
My first inspiration was by fluke, I guess. I was asked to do a hook on a friend's song, and so I agreed, and I went in the studio and recorded the hook that they wrote. And when I listened back to it, I was amazed. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I could do this. And they ended up giving me the last 15 minutes of the studio time. So I wrote a verse and recorded it, and it ended up being my first track, which was Waterfalls in 2012. And so that's kind of how I fell into it. I didn't know where to go after that because I didn't know anything about the music industry. But so I kind of stopped after that, and until about 2016, where I was adamant that I was going to get back into it.
Okay.
And figure it out. So.
Yeah, I know you always try to keep yourself educated. And I follow you on social media, and I've been watching your journey over the past couple of years as well. And I had the wonderful opportunity to collaborate with you earlier in 2020.
Yes.
It's hard to believe that we wrote a song about liberation, and this is a time when we all need that. Related to that, I have a question for you in terms of, I know you have like a full calendar. For a few years, and you always look for opportunities to collaborate with people. So how do you keep up with all this stuff, all these songs?
Oh my gosh, I was racking my brain last night. I said, oh my goodness, I need to start making the list of all the people who are remixing and all the collaborations, because normally I have a list, but then it just started coming in, and I stopped making the list. I was like, wait a minute, I need to know what I'm waiting for. I need to know. So I try to have a list. I have this huge, big yellow sticky board. It's like the sticky, but it's huge. It's like humongous, and I have it on my wall. And I have a list of every song that I am making and who I'm collaborating with, and the tentative release date of it. So that's what I normally do, and it's a few pages long. But like I said, between the traveling that I've been doing, I kind of stopped adding to the list.
Yeah.
And I need to go back and.
Do you have like a strategy on how long you want to dedicate for every song, or like every collaboration, or every single, or anything like that?
I don't have a strategy. I usually ask whoever I'm collaborating with what their timeline is, because I need to know whether it's a rush job or whether I have months to do it. But once I finish it, I always tell them that once it's mixed and mastered, I don't want to sit on it. Let's get it released. Let's get it scheduled. Let's shoot it to a record label or whatever we're going to do with it. Yeah. But I don't want to sit on this, because I work too hard on it. And
I think you hit upon something which is like, you work too hard on it, because I've seen you do all the hard work all the time, because you're posting all the time, like at 6 a.m., at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. Like, does Shalon ever sleep? So that's the real question. And talking about sleeping, yeah, go ahead, finish the answer. I know you sleep, but
do I ever sleep? Sometimes I think I don't sleep. My mom texts me every morning. She's like, "How'd you sleep, baby?" And I'm like, I mean, I sleep periodically, but sometimes when I'm really, really motivated about something, I don't sleep because I can't. My anxiety level's up. I got to get stuff out. I need to figure out how to get it recognized, get it, paid attention to, and I don't.
Talking about family and your childhood, something that resonated with me a little bit, because I've spent a little bit of time in the Mountain West, and I've been around horses. Not that I know how to ride them. I know you are much more proficient. So I know you grew up in the Pacific Northwest. So if you wanna share maybe a couple of thoughts on like how that experience was and what are the things that you got to do?
Yeah, I grew up. I was born in Portland, and I actually grew up in Washington State. I lived in Idaho for a year.
Hmm.
It was too cold. Um,
And you ended up
and
here.
and I know I went back to Portland, then I went to San Diego, and then I ended up here. But growing up in Portland and Washington was, I mean, it was fun for me as a child, but I did experience there was a lot of racism there. Not in Portland, but definitely in Washington State. Um, but I ended up having my select few friends that weren't racist. Um, and we grew up on a ranch, so we did a lot of horsing around,
Yeah.
rodeos and shows and all kinds of stuff with the horses. So we kept really, really, really busy all the time. I don't even think we had a break. I don't remember ever having a break. We were gone, every single weekend, and during the week we were practicing whatever we had to do for the weekend. So we were busy
Yeah, I also
always.
asked because I see your daughter also has an interest in these things, and looking at some of your posts is like I really enjoy seeing those posts too. So
Yeah, I did. I did get my daughter a horse, my youngest daughter. Her name is Freedom. Um, I don't do this. She's not in the same things that I was in
yeah,
because I don't have time
yeah,
to
yeah,
do that, but I do definitely am teaching her about horsemanship and how to care for a horse. And when she gets a little older, definitely if she wants to do it, I'll let her do it. But I'm not pushing her to
that's
do it.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
So coming back to the East Coast, so I know we originally met at a music conference. So
Yes.
especially with the everything going virtual, do you feel like the world is moving to like a different place that we have not seen before, in terms of like how things are getting virtual versus like in the real world?
I do. I do. I'm really feeling it this last week since I've been on podcasts all week and I've been at home. But I was like, at first I was like, oh, I don't, I'm more of a physical hands-on
Yeah.
person. I like to meet people, like to be in the presence, feel their energy. But I kind of enjoyed being at home and doing the podcast.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was it's still, professional. You still have to follow the same rules, but you're just not face to face.
Yeah.
But I still think that in person is
Yeah.
obviously better because
Yeah.
you can kind of feel people out better like
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But we did meet. We met in Texas. It was
Yeah.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
like, what are the odds of that? When I heard, Maryland, you're from Maryland? No way, we gotta meet. We
Yeah.
have to meet.
Yeah, I'm so glad we connected a little bit. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you performed at the open mic over there and I missed it, or like, I know it was a long story, but
No, I did. I put my name in, but it was so hot
yeah,
over there.
yeah, it
Like it
was.
was, and it was so crowded in there, and I'm
Yeah,
I'm not a crowd person, so I was
yeah.
on the outside, and I think I probably missed my name, but
I understand. I think it's been a lot of fun talking to you. We've learned a little bit about you in the time that we've had, with all your adventures that are ongoing. Would you, for our listeners who are tuning in, do you have anything to share with them, especially like this podcast? We've been talking to people about various people's journeys and stories, and we've heard few of your own stories. Do you have any message that you would want to share with the listeners, and also maybe mention your website as well, where the audience can follow you?
yeah. Um, Definitely, I want to share that I think it's really a time for showing love, and I think we kind of got distracted with all that's going on, and there's so much hate going on, and diverse, like, um, people are splitting. I don't even know how to even take it out into words right now. It's just so sad. All of the people who are friends are no longer friends, and political splits, and Just everything is really negative right now. And I think we just need to bring it back to loving our neighbors, showing love. And it's hard. It's hard because there's so much, so many things going on that won't help us do that. And I can only speak from a standing point right here, because if I'm in a situation of negativity, I'm not sure how I will really react. But I think we need to try. We definitely need to try to show more love. But as far as finding my work, you can find shalon.us, SHALON.us. And then my music's on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all those places under Shalon, SHALON. And if you want to hit my social media, it's Shalon the artist.
All right.
So that's where you can find me.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for being on the show, and wish you all the best in the coming time.
Thank you for having me.
And hope to connect with you at another time, another season of the podcast, perhaps.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode. Sign up on our website empathyspeak.com for more details and to stay connected. Follow us on social media. Thanks to our creative partners Swameva Music. This is Arvind Venugopal signing off. See you next week.